Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. My name is Fredrik Heintz. I'm a professor of computer science at Linköping University, but here I'm first and foremost the coordinator of the TrustLLM EU-funded project. And I'm very happy to have opening this workshop here today, where we're trying to connect, how can we connect ethics and trust so we can really build this kind of trustworthy European models, because in the end, that is what we want to achieve. We want to provide European alternatives that are useful to everyone. So let me see. So you can see the program. Basically, we have a number of presentations, and then after the presentations, we will have a panel. So as was previously announced, please save your questions for then, and then we will have an opportunity to ask your questions to the people of the panel and also have a discussion around those. So the first presentation here is I will give a short kind of overview or introduction to the TrustLLM project itself. So basically, the project started 2 years ago, and the overall goal of the project is really how can we build trustworthy and factual large language models, and to do that in Europe. And basically what we did was that we took those organizations that had already been doing this before. So for example, we had AI Sweden developing the GPT-3, we had Fraunhofer developing OpenGPT-X, we had TNO in the Netherlands working on the Dutch model, we had Midind and the people from Iceland had been working with OpenAI in improving Icelandic support in their models. So we basically tried to take those organizations that already had been working on this and see how can we bring this expertise together and do something larger together. We also so basically, since the organizations that we had were already from the Northern Europe region, we decided, oh, let's kind of build on that. So therefore, the focus here is on the Germanic languages. And one hypothesis here is that by training models on the same language family, we actually get benefits. So they are starting to show up some research result stating that there is in some sense a multilingual penalty, that if you train multilingual models, you need more data, more compute compared to single language models. But here our hope at least, or hypothesis, is that by training on similar languages, that penalty will be smaller. And I think there were some indications in this latest Atlas study by MIT that where they looked at the correlation between different languages, or I mean what the added value of training on pairs of languages was indicative that this hypothesis might be true. And since we want to do this in a trustworthy manner, we're basically doing this from scratch so that we have full control over the full kind of pipeline from data collection to pre-training to post-training to evaluation and application. So that's another kind of feature. We're also not only doing research, I mean, in some sense it's mainly a research project, we also want to train models, actually build artifacts that we can make use of in real applications. And in order to bridge these two, evaluation is really a key component. So actually that is, I think, one of the nice contributions that we have already made within this project, the EuroEval framework developed by Alexandra Institute in Denmark. So when we look at the overarching goals, so in some sense, what do we want to achieve? So we want to understand how to efficient compliance. So actually, I think that has been one of the kind of things that we have spent a lot of effort on, trying to understand what do you need to do to be compliant and to be able to use these models for commercial use. So not only for research purposes. We also want to translate this compliance into data processing pipelines so that to the extent possible, can you automate this? To what extent can you automate this so that you make it much easier for others to benefit from this? And then we have the multilingual aspects. So both how can we do multilingual training and to have a focus on low resource languages, because we think that is something that we have unique for our region, that we have certain languages like Icelandic and Faroese that are really low resource languages that probably would not be taken care of by anyone else. So there we can make a contribution. And also, how do you evaluate? So one of the things we have learned is that multilingual evaluation is really difficult. And depending on how you do this evaluation, you get very different results and outcomes. And to the end, we really want to add value to the European LLM ecosystem. So we really want to see how we can work together, because I think none of us can do this on our own. So one thing we have been discussing is that since there are so many different groups and organizations releasing models, what is the kind of motivation for releasing yet another model? So at our latest consortium meeting in Iceland in June this year, we discussed what are the criteria for doing this, and we think that in order to make it worthwhile, we really have to add something. So in some dimension, it should really be useful, or beating what exists. So here our hypothesis is that probably will be in these low resource languages that we can really make a difference. We also want to be transparent and open with what we do, and also have permissive licenses. But I think if you look at what's happening around us, that's also what many others are also doing. So what have we done so far? We have basically trained a 7.8b model that as a baseline, so that we can see that we can do this and see what we need to improve. We have basically looked at the full pipeline and tried to identify what are some of the challenges, what some of the things that we can improve and work on, especially to achieve this kind of trustworthiness and factfulness. I don't have time to go through them today, and that's not really the purpose here today, but just to show that we are working on all these different parts and studying different approaches. So one thing I wanted to highlight was this multilingual evaluation, because that is something that's really important for us, that we are actually having these multilingual models. And if you're looking internationally, it's basically English first, and I was almost going to say English only, but that's not true, but rather that the focus is very much on the English languages in most benchmarks. But what we want to do is to provide an alternative and to see how can we see how good they are in our languages. So actually this started out as Skandeval. As I said, it's developed by Alexandra Institute in Denmark. But over time, we have seen that there's been a very great interest in this evaluation framework. So now it's been generalized to Euroval, and they're adding more and more languages. So if you want to see the different scoreboards and how the different models are doing, you can go to this euroval.com and see what the current status is. And just to kind of show a little bit how we are doing, so our baseline model, I would argue, is more or less as the others. So you can see that the kind of comparable models that we have evaluated, they all end up around, between 60 and 70 place in the over. But I mean, so I've only compared to models of the same size. So of course the top models are much larger models. So I think the highest ranking 8B model was around place 40 or something like that. So I mean the point here is that more that we are having comparable quality as the others, both on this generation and also on understanding. We're doing a little bit better on the natural language understanding part, but even the baseline model was still, I mean, okay. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's okay, and it's something that we want to improve on, and that is what we're currently working on. How do we take the next step, add more data? So this was, I think, 2.3 trillion tokens, so that we see that one way of improving the quality is to expand or extend the amount of data that you train it on. So for example, the Swiss purchase model has been trained on 15 trillion tokens. As one example, they're covering many more languages, but if you can get data in that kind of order, then you should be able to significantly improve without making the models larger. You can also train the models for a longer time, and again, improve the quality. So in that direction, we're also looking at how can we expand and get more compute resources to do that kind of training. So there are a number of avenues that we are exploring. So overall, as I mentioned several times, the overall purpose here is really to develop trustworthy and factual language models. And I really think one of the things we are trying to do is to understand what does this mean, and to be as kind of identifying the challenges. And that's also one of the reasons why we have these workshops. Actually, this is the second workshop we are having in this kind of series, where we bring in different experts to provide their perspective on how can we achieve this kind of trustworthiness and compliance, but also having high quality. Because, I mean, if you don't make models that people find useful, the work will not be used. And that, in the end, that's what we want to make useful models that are also trustworthy and factual. So that is a short status of where we are. You will see in the upcoming presentations a bit more on the specifics, but hopefully this gave an introduction. So that was the end of the first presentation.